Tomorrow, the conversation ends. The doubt dies. You have spent the last few months negotiating with your own intuition, living between the lines, trying to balance two versions of yourself. You thought you could keep the door ajar forever. But the universe has an expiration date for illusion. Tomorrow, December 4th, the full moon in Gemini, the cold moon, rises to illuminate every dark corner of your mind. This is not a moon that comes to negotiate, it comes to sentence. The light that turns on tomorrow is surgical. It does not warm, it reveals. Whatever is a lie in your life breaks, whatever is true stays. There is no more room for maybe, for the half-truth, or for the comfortable excuse. You're about to face the collapse of the narratives you invented to justify your stagnation. The duplicity becomes unbearable. You will have to choose a side, or the sky will choose for you. Do not be afraid of the end of the story you told yourself. Be afraid of continuing to live in it. What arrives tomorrow is not chaos, it is the verdict. And the verdict, however harsh, is the only solid ground where you can stand. If you are ready to stop dividing yourself and accept what is real, anchor your decision now. Write in the comments, "I accept the truth." The first thing the cold light of this full moon illuminates is the crack in the foundation of your identity. You have been living a civil war inside your own head. On one side, there is who you are, your raw nature, your real desires, your intuition screaming quietly. On the other side, there is who you think you should be, the adaptable version who smiles so as not to bother anyone, who accepts what they don't want, who performs stability while their internal world crumbles. Gemini is the sign of the twins. In its luminous expression, it is integration. In its shadow, it is duplicity. For months, you used this duplicity as a survival strategy. You thought you were smart. You thought, I can keep these two parallel lives. I can feel one thing and say another. I can want to leave and keep staying. You treated your incoherence as if it were flexibility. But today, on the eve of the lunar apex, the bill for this strategy has arrived, and the currency of payment is your sanity. You are not exhausted because you work too much. You are not drained because the world is difficult. You are exhausted because you spend 80% of your vital energy trying to keep two versions of yourself alive at the same time. It is a Herculean effort to hold the mask in place when the face underneath has already changed shape. The death of duplicity is not a punishment. It is a law of physics. A house divided against itself cannot stand. A divided mind does not create. It only short-circuits. What happens tomorrow is the collapse of the wall separating these two versions. You will feel a physical intolerance to your own lie. That polite phrase you used to say to keep the peace. Tomorrow, it will taste like ash in your mouth. You won't be able to pronounce it. That commitment you kept out of social obligation while your soul wanted to be elsewhere. Your body will refuse to go. Your legs will lock up. Duplicity requires darkness to exist. It needs dark corners where you can hide what you really feel. But the cold moon is a 360-degree spotlight. There is no more shadow. There is no more hiding place. This leads us to the central point of this ultimatum. You will have to choose. You can no longer be half something. You can't be half committed. You can't be half honest. You can't be half in that relationship. The lukewarm zone where you tried to balance plates has just been closed off. The choice the sky asks of you is not between moral right and wrong. It is between the living and the dead. One of your versions is alive, pulsating, wanting to grow. The other is dead. It is just a habit, an empty shell you drag around for fear of displeasing. The fear of killing the dead version is the fear of losing the love of others. If I show who I really am, will they stay? Gemini's cold truth answers. If they only love your mask, they never loved you. They loved your theater. Losing an audience that applauds a lie is not a loss. It is a deliverance. In the next 24 hours, you will feel the pressure of this choice increase. You will catch yourself in situations where the fork in the road appears clear. Left or right, truth or lie, speak or silence. Do not try to be smart. Do not try to find a third way that pleases everyone. Gemini hates the middle ground as much as Scorpio. It wants definition. If you try to maintain duplicity under this moon, mental tension will turn into pure anxiety, insomnia, and confusion. If you accept the death of duplicity, the tension turns into relief. The relief of being one single thing. The rest of not needing to remember which lie you told to whom. The peace of having your voice aligned with your heart. Prepare for the funeral of your divided version. Do not weep for it. It served its purpose of protection. But now, it is a cage too small for the size of the truth that wants to be born. The civil war is over. One side will win. Make sure it is the side that has a pulse. There is a reason why the last full moon of the year is called the cold moon. Many fear coldness. We believe that heat is synonymous with life, with love, with connection. We were taught to seek the warmth in the heart. But when it comes to the truth, heat is the enemy. Heat distorts. The heat of emotion makes reality melt and lose shape. Under the effect of heat, a small offense turns into a Greek tragedy. A simple doubt turns into an existential crisis. Drama is hot. Confusion is hot. Shame burning the face is hot. You have spent the last few months feverish. Your mind was inflamed by narratives, assumptions, and fears. Today, the moon in Gemini brings the cure, the necessary coldness. Imagine an operating room. It needs to be cold. It needs to be sterile. If there is heat, bacteria proliferate. If the surgeon is crying, shaking, or feeling too much the patient's pain, he misses the cut. To save a life, he must in that moment turn off empathy and turn on precision. This moon is your surgeon. It comes to lower the temperature of your mind. It comes to freeze the drama so that you can finally see the structure of the problem without drowning in the story of the problem. The second movement of this ultimatum is learning to separate the fact from the story. The fact is cold, solid, and neutral. The story is hot, sticky, and heavy. The fact is, he didn't reply to the message. The story is, he didn't reply because he doesn't like me, because I said something wrong, because I always ruin everything, and I'll be alone forever. The fact is, the project didn't make a profit this month. The story is, I am a failure. I will never make it. I should have listened to my mother. It's the end of the line. Notice the difference. The fact doesn't hurt. The fact is just a piece of reality data. What hurts, what breaks you, what exhausts you is the story you paste on top of the fact. The story is the inflammation. Gemini energy is our master of data. It looks at the situation and asks, what actually happened here? Today, you will feel a strange new capacity to look at your wounds without crying. You will look at that relationship that ended and, instead of feeling the stab in the chest of rejection, heat, you will see the logical incompatibility, cold. We wanted different things. It's over. Period. You will look at your bank account and, instead of feeling the panic of scarcity, heat, you will see the math, cold. X came in, Y went out. Need to adjust Z. This sudden sobriety might be scary. You might think, have I turned into a robot? Have I lost my soul? No, you just came out of the fever. The necessary coldness is the highest form of compassion for yourself. While you are trapped in emotional drama, you cannot solve anything. You can only suffer. When you cool your head, you regain agency. Facts can be managed. Inflamed emotions manage us. In the next few hours, practice tactical anesthesia. When a situation triggers you, when you feel the blood rise and the urge to react, stop. Imagine a cold winter wind blowing inside your brain. Freeze the scene. Remove the adjectives. This is a terrible and unforgivable betrayal. Becomes, the agreement was broken. I am desperate and lost. becomes, I don't have a plan for tomorrow. When you remove the adjectives, the monster shrinks. The problem returns to actual size, and an actual size problem can be solved. The cold moon gives you permission not to feel for a moment. It gives you a break from the emotional roller coaster. Take advantage of this ice. Use it to cut what needs to be cut. There are cords that can only be broken cold. There are truths that can only be accepted when we aren't trying to sugarcoat the pill. The truth is icy, but it preserves. The lie is hot, but it rots. Do not seek the comfort of heat today. Seek the clarity of cold. The winter of the mind has arrived to kill the pests of doubt. Let it snow. You killed duplicity and cooled the mind. Now the stage is set for the main event of this full moon, the final conversation. There is a specific conversation you have been avoiding. You know which one it is. It lives at the back of your throat like a bitter taste, or in the back of your mind like an endless rehearsal that never premieres. It might be the breakup conversation. It might be the resignation conversation. It might be the boundary conversation with a family member. It might be the confession conversation. You have used your intelligence to dodge this moment. You calculated escape routes, used tactical silence, changed the subject, smiled to disguise. You thought that if you waited long enough, the need for this conversation would disappear. The full moon in Gemini comes to tell you that time is up. Tomorrow's energy no longer allows for deviation. Gemini rules exchange. What is inside has to go outside. It is a law of hydraulic pressure. If you try to hold this conversation for another 24 hours, the pressure will burst the pipes in the form of an ugly fight, a humiliating slip of the tongue, or a violent physical symptom. The universe will corner you. You will notice that circumstances conspire to put you in front of the person or situation you avoid. The phone rings at the wrong time. The accidental meeting happens. The subject comes up at the dinner table without anyone having called for it. Do not fight the scenario. The scenario was set up to free you. What scares you about the final conversation is not the act of speaking. It is the irreversible. You know that once those words leave your mouth, reality changes forever. You cannot unsay the truth. The old contract is torn up. The image the other had of you breaks. The ego loves reversibility. It loves leaving doors ajar just in case. But the soul wants destiny, and destiny only happens after the point of no return. The final conversation does not need to be a shout. In fact, under the rulership of the cold moon, the most powerful conversations are the quietest. It is not about vomiting emotion. Remember the necessary coldness. It is about delivering the sentence. I can't do this anymore. I don't love you anymore. I need to leave. Short sentences, subject, verb, and object. The truth doesn't need adverbs. The truth doesn't need long justifications. Justification is the attempt to control the other's reaction. The truth is the delivery of the fact, regardless of the reaction. When you finally release that sentence, something supernatural happens in your body. Gravity changes. The lead weight that was on your shoulders evaporates instantly. Air enters the lungs all the way to the bottom for the first time in months. You discover that the fear of the conversation was infinitely worse than the conversation itself. The monster was the shadow on the wall, not the person in front of you. And what if the final conversation is with yourself? Sometimes the other is no longer here, or the other doesn't listen. So the dialogue is in the mirror. It is the moment when you look into your own eyes and admit, I failed, or I gave up, or I deserve more. This internal confession is the turning point. While you were lying to yourself, you were trapped in a labyrinth. The moment you admit the truth, the labyrinth falls and turns into an open plain. Scary? Yes, but walkable. In the next few hours, prepare your spirit. Do not rehearse the script. Scripts fail at crunch time. Prepare your intention. Ask yourself, What is the one thing that, if said, frees me and the other? Usually it is the thing you are most afraid to say. It is the key piece that dismantles the house of cards. Go to the meeting, sit in the chair, look in the eyes. The throat will go dry, the heart will beat in the throat, the hand will shake. Let it shake. Just open your mouth and let the first sentence come out. The rest comes dragged by the moon's current. After the truth is spoken, the silence that follows is not empty. It is sacred. It is the sound of a new life beginning. The final conversation is not the end of the world. It is the end of the lie. And the end of the lie is the beginning of everything that is real. After duplicity dies and the final conversation happens, even if only in your head, you face the last line of defense of your ego, your narratives. Narratives are the stories you tell yourself to explain why your life isn't the way you would like it to be. They are complex architectures built with the cement of victimization and bricks of half-truths. They serve as a shield against the pain of responsibility. But the full moon in Gemini is an interrogation and a spotlight. It does not accept the story. It wants the evidence. Tomorrow you will watch the fall of narratives. The first narrative that will collapse is that of confusion. I don't move because I am confused about my purpose. I don't finish because I don't know if it's the right thing. Tomorrow, this excuse turns to dust. The light of the moon is too strong. You will realize that confusion was just a pretty name for fear. You know what the next step is. You always knew. Confusion was just an artificial fog you pumped into the environment so you wouldn't have to walk. When the fog lifts, the road appears. And if the road appears, you no longer have an excuse for standing still. The second narrative that falls is that of perfect timing. I am waiting for the right moment. I need to prepare more. When I have more money, time, energy, I will do it. Gemini is the sign of the now, of quick exchange, of movement. It laughs at the idea of the perfect moment. It shows you that time waits for no one. Tomorrow you will feel the biological urgency of impermanence. You will understand that the right moment is a myth created to postpone life. Either it is now or it isn't. Waiting reveals itself as what it really is, procrastination dressed as prudence. The third narrative, and the most painful to lose, is that of the victim of circumstances. They won't let me. The market is bad. My family holds me back. This narrative is comfortable because it outsources the blame. But the energy of this moon brings the information back to the center. You are the common denominator of your life. If the market is bad, what did you do to adapt? If the family holds you, why didn't you let go of the rope? The cold truth of Gemini returns the authorship of the script to you. It is an immense weight, but it is the only weight that allows you to change the ending of the story. When these narratives fall, you feel naked. You lose the warm blanket of justification. You are exposed to the cold wind of reality. Many people panic here. They try to rebuild the lie in a hurry. They try to find a new excuse to replace the old one. Do not do this. Let the narrative fall and break on the floor. Do not try to glue the shards back together. The fall of narratives is the beginning of your real life. While you spent energy sustaining the story of why I can't, you had no energy to can. Tomorrow, the silence that remains in place of the excuse is the space where action is born. You will look in the mirror and say, I am not confused, I am scared. And I will go scared anyway. You will say, the moment is not perfect, but it is what I have, and I will use it. You will say, no one is coming to save me, I am the rescue. This brutal honesty is the gift of the cold moon. It hurts like a paper cut, but it cures like surgery. Stop being the storyteller of your own tragedy. Starting tomorrow, be the reporter of facts. And the fact is, you are alive, you have power, and the excuse is over. When the narratives fall, What remains is the ground, and on the ground you find a crossroads. Gemini energy loves multiplicity. It loves having 10 tabs open, 5 plans B, and 3 escape routes. It feels safe in variety, but the full moon is a total focus event. It takes all this dispersed light and concentrates it into a single laser beam. Tomorrow, you arrive at the point of convergence. You will realize that all the complexity of your life, the details, the what-ifs, the nuances, suddenly boils down to a binary choice. 0 or 1, stay or go, speak or silence, sign or tear. There is no third option. This might seem terrifying to a mind that was trained to keep options open. The ego believes that freedom is having infinite options. The soul knows that freedom is having a choice made. As long as you don't choose, you are a slave to all possibilities. The moment you choose, you kill the other options, but you give life to the one you chose. The point of convergence is the end of analysis paralysis. You will feel this physically as a funneling. It is as if the hallway of your life got narrow, pushing you toward a single door. You can try to turn back, you can try to stop, but gravity pulls you to the decision. Doubt, which before seemed like an impenetrable mist, evaporates. You look at the situation and see the bone structure of it. If I stay, I sicken. If I go, I grow. Simple as that. Brutal as that. At this point, it is no use asking for advice anymore. Advice is for those who have doubts. You already have certainty. You only lack movement. Tomorrow, when life puts you against the wall and asks yes or no, do not stutter. Do not ask for more time. Time is up. The funnel has tightened. Convergence is the moment when your life stops being a theory and turns into a practice. It is where the rubber meets the road. Accept the reduction. Accept that you cannot have everything, but you can have what is true. The binary choice is not a limitation. It is the only exit door from the labyrinth. Choose a side and do not look at the other. We have reached the final act of preparation. You killed duplicity, cooled the drama, faced the conversation, and tore down the narratives. Your mind is clean, but the world outside is still noisy. To hold your position during the apex of this full moon, you need an anchor. You need a weapon that is fast, light, and lethal against doubt. This is the one-word ritual. Complexity is the refuge of the lie. When we want to deceive ourselves, we use commas, parentheses, and footnotes. When we want the truth, we use the period. The challenge now is to reduce your entire current situation, all the pain, all the fear, all the desire for change, to a single word. It is not a phrase, it is not a positive affirmation, it is a command. Close your eyes for a moment. Visualize everything you are facing, the weight, the decision, the person, the scenario. Now, compress this. Squeeze this mental image until it becomes a tiny, indestructible diamond. What is the name of this diamond? Maybe your word is enough. When doubt comes, you do not argue with it. You say enough and cut the signal. Maybe your word is now for those who are procrastinating life. Now eliminates the future and the past. Maybe it is truth for those who attempted to lie or hide. Maybe it is courage for those who know what to do but are trembling. Find your word. It must have a dry sound. It shouldn't be pretty. It should be functional. It is the activation code of your new state. As soon as you find this word, keep it. It is your war mantra for the next 24 hours. When you are in the middle of the final conversation and feel like you are going to cave, repeat the word mentally. It will return you to your axis. When late-night anxiety tries to tell you horror stories, use the word like a hammer to smash the projector. The single word is proof that you understood the lesson of Gemini. Real intelligence is not knowing how to speak a lot. It is knowing how to say exactly what matters. You don't need more arguments. You need a command. Have the word on the tip of your tongue. Tomorrow, when the test comes, you won't have time to think. You will only have time to decree. The verdict has been delivered. The cold moon lit up the room, and there are no more shadows to hide in. Duplicity has died. You are no longer two people trying to inhabit the same body at war. You are one single truth. It may seem scary now, being exposed without the protection of your old narratives, but breathe. Feel the ground. The truth is cold, but it is the only thing that doesn't crumble when the storm comes. Do not try to rebuild the lie tomorrow. Do not try to glue the shards of the mask. What broke, broke for your liberation. Embrace the sobriety of knowing exactly who you are and what needs to be done. The confusion is over. To seal this non-negotiable pact with reality and warn the universe that you have stopped running, leave your final decree registered. Write in the comments, "I accept the truth. The illusion is over. Welcome to real life."